It is a 3v3. The rules are a standard 18 pounds of artillery, 1 heavy cavalry. We have a coalition versus alliance, and on the coalition, oh wait, actually, this is weird. We got Austria with the Imperial. Hey, I don't know, they switched sides at this time for whatever reason. Anyways, we've got Dan as a Confederation of the Rhine with a relatively small army, but pretty strong. A lot of grenadiers, 2 howitzers, and a 3-pounder, I think it is. We've got Austria, who is lateral fusion, and he has a decently large army. And what does he have for artillery? He's gone with, I think, 4 bits of artillery. It's 2 6-pounders and 2 3-pounders, I think. But yeah, pretty strong. And we have finally Willie Clasher, who is France. He just has 2 bits of artillery, artillery peed and a 6-pounder, I'm pretty sure. Got a interesting mix of units. Got some conscripts at the back, grenadiers on the flank with a young guard to help them. Very nice. I think it's going to be a fight for LOC.
Yep, it was.
7 LOC in the middle here.
Yeah, it's essentially whoever controls the town in the middle wins the game.
Yeah, it's going to be hectic. There's a good amount of forest around it as well. Plenty of stuff to hide in, but looking at the map down at eye level from the center, it's hard to get artillery anywhere in there, is it? Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was a really hard area to fight for, because Lyril did a really good job of fighting for the center, but like the positioning of everything's really hard, especially playing against a melee heavy faction like Russia.
Yeah.
And I was moving along the right just to try and my plan was try and capture the hills of the right side to stop any kind of Russian artillery forming up there, and then just wreaking havoc in the lower ground next to it.
Yeah.
So that's actually what I had my entire light infantry corps and an elite just on the right side just to try and capture that hill as fast as possible.
Yeah, I see that now. I was just going to say, you've done a great choice of bringing the howitzers, haven't you?
But yeah, I pre-scouted this map. I knew there was a lot of hills, so I took those howitzers.
Makes sense. It's kind of cheating, but it's kind of what Napoleon did a lot. Shows where he wanted to fight. Alright, now I'm starting to see some Russian cavalry coming up on the left flank of the map, where Willie Clasher is. It looks like going to be a huge engagement there. But also, is that your the Garde du Corps going for the Dragoons as well? Is that what I'm looking out for?
Okay, yeah.
I'm bad to see it happen.
Oh, and the Dragoons fired and killed 4 men. They've routed.
They've routed?
Wait, I'm seeing the charge happen now.
Yeah, Michael calls.
I think Dragoons might need to have a slight buff.
Well, no, they're fighting against the best heavy cavalry.
No, but they fired a volley at point blank and killed 4 people.
You're forgetting how cheap they are, though.
No, the Dragoons aren't cheap. Dragoons are like.
Oh, it's his fault for facing the Dragoons against everything. Yeah, Michael, I think it's entirely fair for that Dragoon to right, because they got charged. They still killed 10 men of the Garde du Corps, which is worth it for Dragoons.
Yes, but they only killed 4 with the volley at point blank range, though, which is a bit interesting. Expecting more lethality.
Well, you can give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the Dragoons were scared. They were seeing guys fucking clad in armor charging at them. They're a bit shaky. Couldn't get their shots off well.
I mean, that's just pathetic.
Oh, no roleplay, no nothing.
No,
Michael, stop being so anti-roleplay. How dare you?
Yeah. Oh, you see the Russians coming in a column formation with a 20-pounder behind them. What the hell?
Yeah, that's their only artillery on that side.
Let's introduce the Russian players as well, real quick. We have, I don't know who is who, but we have Bizarre.
He's fighting me.
Okay, he's fighting you. We have Meet the Skunt, and we have Red Viper. Those are our Russian players, and all three of them
We're
play
about to have
Russian.
another.
Yeah, I see.
Oh, we're
Yeah,
about
the
Westberg Chevalier
Westberg
versus
Chevaliers. Yeah, I was
Dragoons.
zooming in on that. Oh fuck.
Cuirassier versus Garde du Corps
Got
as
the core
well.
Cuirassier. Oh, strong versus strong.
I think the difference, however, though, is my Garde du Corps were inspired, and his Cuirassier weren't.
Thank you, Karl Darlberg.
Who,
Dragoons
oh my god,
supporting
yeah,
the other Dragoons. Oh god.
it's a real cavalry engagement over here.
that the
The
20
Cuirassier
pounder?
is due out as well.
Was it the 20?
I don't know if the...
Fucking
Oh yeah, the Spitfire has fired as well.
It just
The
blasted
Dragoons turn
Karl
on.
Dahlberg, dude.
Massive.
Oh, the Cuirassier routed.
Yeah, I rode all of the Russian cavalry essentially on this side. Lero makes a charge in the Dragoons as well.
Alright,
And
finishes those off.
essentially, that is a big victory for me, just the ability to kill so much of their cavalry at the start, and their scare cav. There was only one scare cav this game.
I do have
Yes,
to admit, the
um,
Russians have
Jaeger's not-
gained so much ground so quickly. Look at where their Jaegers were so quickly. But I think,
know.
I think they're... Oh my god, I just saw that rip through the columns. Whose artillery was that? Was that... That was
Where?
6-pounder from Leril. Directly in line against those Lifeguard battalion. Taking out almost 20 of them. Taking out 10 of the other unit.
Oh my... Oh yeah, no, I see that now.
Oh!
The thing about this though was I got quite a shock on the amount of infantry on the right. He has about 20 units of infantry going up against 4 light infantry and infantry unit. That's quite a lot.
Yeah, you got like 3-5 units there now. And he has about like a good 15 by the looks of it. Jesus fucking Christ. I just want to quickly see the other parts of the map. So it looks like Willy Clasher is given the hill to the Russians on the left. Is that correct? Seems like it. There's nothing really
Certainly,
happening
yeah,
in the
it looks
background.
like it for me as well, yeah.
Anyways, back to the action in the
remember.
center. So those
Yeah, I
Dragoons
only
are going
really
for
knew what
good.
happened around.
Russia's decided to reform its lines and decided columns are not good at the moment because Lero has a really good angle, shooting just overhead their lines, I mean your lines, into them.
Villager just.
Some of my howitzers have set up as well, and I'm
Yeah.
bringing that 3-pounder force to start doing some damage.
The howitzers are fighting
But
back.
yeah, you can see I essentially just wanted to lock off the right side and anchor around that little pond on the left with Lero's help, just to try and make sure that Lero has the best chance possible fighting in that town.
Where is this pond you're referring to?
It's behind the Dragoons that died, like next to the
I see it,
lifeguards
yeah.
that got wiped out.
Yeah,
that
the
night,
Dragoons are stuck on them.
Yeah. Yeah, me and Lero made the kind of joint decision to push there to try and just lock that off. Protect Lero over there, make sure that he's nice and safe. And that's also the main area where I think I had the most strength.
Mhm.
Because my line infantry would be able to beat the Jaegers. And if I can kill those 2 lifeguards, it'll do a lot of damage to their morale as well.
That
It's
might be
certainly
a
the
bit of a
weakest
mistake,
area.
putting lifeguards in the front line. Throwing
Yeah.
them behind as a sort of
Well,
reserve.
I think
to
the
just
biggest
fire.
mistake the Russians really did was not pressing me as hard as possible on the right. Because right now he is advancing on me,
Mm-hmm.
but
He's
it
letting
turned
you
into
set
a
up to
very
defend.
long
He's
engagement.
giving you way too much time, 100%. Because I
Yeah.
think Leril's locked down the center for sure. He's making really good use of the terrain. Wow. But no, 100%. He could have the player against you could have really pushed hard.
I mean, you can see the amount of men he's got against me. I've got 190 man light infantry units that will beat him in a gunfight, but he's got 250 man battalions. He's got about, I would say, solid 20 units of infantry just phasing off like 6 of mine. And the fact he's not just either enveloped or just charged is, I still don't understand why he didn't do that.
2 things. I think it's because LOC. It looks like they're focusing on what's happening in the center at the moment. Because Leril looks like there's about to be a melee. The Fusiliers are about to hit the Musketeers, perhaps? You see that?
The first gunfight engagement also has begun on the right.
Yeah, I saw some shooting happening. Here we go.
Dan, your artillery placement is slightly interesting over here.
Yes, but behind the hill, yeah.
Yeah. You're just
didn't see
absolutely
the
wiping out the back of the hill.
Yeah, well, it was.
You've worked out the
it was
angles
pretty
a bit
bad,
now,
yeah.
but yeah.
Listen,
That's not
wasn't paying
how to
attention.
artillery. Yeah.
Oh,
How
well,
much?
no,
wasn't paying attention.
I think you're taking your artillery away right now, as you said that. But anyways, the melee's happening in the
Oh,
center.
no.
It looks like he's breaking the musketeers. He's backing it up well. He's bringing in his cuirassiers. Prince Totoli's coming in to back that up with some hussars as well.
It's
I
doing a
don't know
good
how
job
that's
in
going to happen.
town.
I'm going to quickly check the left side of the map. It's just shooting?
Oh.
Yeah, it's just shooting.
Yep.
But,
guard is being planned on the right as well.
yeah.
You can see the Baden Grenadiers are planning their first charge.
Alright.
Backed up by cavalry.
Jesus Christ, there's too much happening at once. Oh, is that you?
Yeah, that's
Baden
that's
Grenadiers
possible.
going in. I'll just
Against
look at the
Jaegers
mounted
as well.
rifles running away. I think there was an artillery takedown just then. Yeah, it was. I
Yep.
think Lerrell lost one of his artillery. Because obviously he's really focused on the micro in the center. It seems that Russia's taking back the center there. Your charge is pushing him away. It's breaking his center. The Russia against
Yep.
you.
The Russia also pressing against me on the far right side of that hill.
Yes,
As,
you're breaking a bit in the middle there, aren't you? I think
yeah,
you're moving
So
back to
far,
take the higher ground.
I've been-
Yeah, you are, 100%.
yeah. Given the artillery forwards. I think the plan here was I would push forwards, create a little bit of a gap in the line, move the artillery forwards, and swing the right back. Yeah, now you see it. I was trying to swing the right back, get a slow retreat, and use howitzers to do damage.
Oof, your artillery almost wiped out those grenadiers. That was close.
Yeah, it was.
Also
The
seeing
cuirassiers
Russian
coming in on the
super-
side, yep, and your guard de corps hitting those cuirassiers now. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
I'm gonna quickly scope in on the center now. Is anything happening? Holy fuck, it's laggy.
Yeah.
Alright.
Musketeers moving forwards to my artillery, getting absolutely annihilated. And the right, I think his micro got split really hard here because his entire right side wasn't moving in on my lines that had fallen back.
Hold on.
So I was given time to just skirmish him.
Just to double check, your 3-pounder's only just set up now. That's what I'm at.
Yeah, no, it's literally just set. It's not fired, it's not reloading, it's just set.
It's firing
Yeah,
right
I've
now.
just
Here we go.
broken it.
Okay, cool. We're in
Got
sync.
it? Yeah, I'm seeing it fire now.
Alright,
Yeah,
the
so,
cuirassiers are now chasing
yes.
your guard de corps into the Meckelberg, but I think you're going to form a square. Save your army as
Yeah.
well. Yep, there you go.
Use those stakes as well, yeah, there we go, there's the square. And there goes his cuirassier again.
Yeah, Karasi
Yeah, so
fucked off over there.
that section was really hectic, but because of the charge, I split his micro, and he wasn't attacking me on the right anymore, so I was just given time to skirmish him with my skirmishers,
Yeah.
and damage him with howitzers.
Oh, and your Chevaliers
Yeah,
charging
go for the
musketeers.
charge, and they hit.
Oh, the
There we
20-pounder
go.
got a close hit on your Baden just then. That was really close.
Yeah.
So yeah, that center charge actually really worked out well for you because it took away all his micro, 100%.
Yep. Oh,
Back-
Lero's also
yeah,
got a
back to
cannon that he's
Lero.
currently shooting by accident. The 3-pounder's getting shot up.
Our
Whoops.
men are running, sir.
Alright, Willie Clasher and his opponent are doing nothing at the moment. But Lerrell, holy shit, we've missed out on a lot what's going on in the center. It looks like his cuirassiers are cleaning up unit after unit, but yeah. A couple of
Yep.
flames.
No,
Adding men in.
Finally the Russians have advanced on the right as well. I'm throwing them with some Bavarian SRs.
If you look
But
at the mini
I
map,
think
there's
the
basically
Russians
two
really
holes that have
understand
formed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and both your opponents, you and Lerrell.
Mhm. I was able to just force that hole, but I think number-wise, thinking about it, it was extremely costly. Just because I did not have the same number of men. I would say in this straight-up fight, there was about 2,000 man difference. So around, let's say, maybe 6 units of infantry. He had more than me.
Yeah, no, it was
Probably more.
probably closer to 1,500 because you were around 4,000 men. He was about 5.5.
Yeah.
And then Lerrell could
Yeah.
afford these trades because he had, over 5,000 just as his opponent did.
Yeah. Essentially, I think my grenadier plan kind of worked out, but I lost a lot of men from it. I think I ended up trying him though.
Yeah. Are you seeing the center right near the farmhouse? With
Oh
the Chevalier
Oh.
Guards and the, oh my god, Emperor's own battalion are in that mess as well. Where's
It's
Leryl's
extremely
HQ? Yeah,
costly for
okay,
both
good.
sides.
He's brought over Joseph Raditsky. The Raditsky March, hey?
Alright. Oh, looks like we've got something going on the right as well, like squares being formed, cavalry running around, grenadiers being used.
Yes, yes.
Yep, there we go.
Back to
Another
Dan's
charge
side.
there.
Charging through the back
More
of his men. Uh-oh. Oh no, he's charging at your
light cavalry
hussars.
going everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but my hussars also slapped one of his infantry regiments. Oh my god. He ends up taking so much attrition on the right side just because he's not pushing me with everything he's got.
He just
He
landed
does
a
get
strong
charged
20.
off with some
Did you see that
good
20 pounder on your third prince? It just made him flee. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
That 20 pounder hit you hard, bro.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna flash forward like a second because I think I'm a tiny bit ahead of you. But I mean, yeah, there we go. But yeah, it's just waves of Russians coming in. The only thing I've really got is that 3-pounder just to pound them. And there goes the charge of the Warsburg Chevalier again onto the Musketeers.
Oh,
It's
that was painful.
very hectic.
Oh, I missed out
Yeah.
on the canister.
Oh.
I do see. Oh, there's a Russian charge on the far left and some grenadiers, but it doesn't work out for the Russians as the French form a square. Dragoons going in against the Warsburg Chevalier. Warsburg Chevalier breaking, but they do break the infantry. And the Grenadiers also break the guys that they were fighting. So yeah, the Russians taking heavy attrition over here. They're losing more than they're killing, but it doesn't really matter that much just because how Russia works is you always have more men. You always lose more than you kill, but you have so many men that doesn't really matter that much.
Okay, look what's happening now. He's using the cuirassiers, he's helping. It looks like he's trying to envelop you now. He's confident, he's really confident. He thinks he has the numbers to back it up. But your 3-pounder has really pinned that position, and this is how I play a lot of games as well. It's just using artillery to lock down areas, and you basically just use it as an access point and work with the artillery. Always keep it within like shooting view or whatever, the cone of fire. It's such an easy way to go about it. Because what you can do now is do like an extreme retreat, and yeah, you already are doing now one. In a little bit, yeah.
Ouch.
Not extreme, but you know, just backing up, still in line with the artillery. It's perfect.
Well, he does square the Eisenmalowski.
Yeah, using your cab to back it up. He's coming in now with his cuirassiers, taking out your rifle corps.
Yeah,
They had a lucky escape a second ago, which was kind of impressive because he walked straight past them. I was like, but he's seen them now and he's going for them.
It was certainly a tough fight against him, just 'cause he had so many men, but he lost more. I was just the whole time I was fighting, I was looking over to the center, I was seeing what Leo was doing, and essentially I knew I was going to run out of men. I knew I was going to lose this engagement overall, but it eventually came to the part where I was saying to Leo, "Listen, I'm going to fall, but I'll try and hold them back as long as possible so you can win the center."
Yeah.
And that ends up being really good for us. Just like the fact I was able to hold him off ended up winning us a lot of ground, ended up letting Lero do whatever he really wanted in the center. Oh, 3-pounder goes, sadly.
Yep, bye bye.
Nah,
I just saw in the center, I think what's happening in the center is the opponent of Lero's
charge
Russia.
for stakes. Ouch. That was difficult to watch.
In the center between the two houses, it looks like it's kind of just being drip fed from Russia, and that's really not working out in his favor because you see the Grenadier Battalion at the moment, it's just going to snap and break. And it's just kind of one unit after another. He needs to do a whole like 5-6 units at once sort of push to really push Lero out of there. But what they have kind of backed up is the Carabiners, the Austrians' own cuirassiers. You just had a lot of cav, a lot of morale support backing up, pinning down those two houses there. It's really good.
It looks like a lot of a lack of cav aggression on the left really lets the French bring over a scare cav, which is really beneficial for their side, especially for Leo, just being able to have that little bit of punch still.
I think what's really great right now, despite you two having really thin lines between where you guys connect, Willie Clash has saved so many men by not engaging for so long. Do you get what I mean? And kind of slowly working back to the center, and now he can start to help Lero out in the center, which is really, really good.
By the way, that's also a small mistake in the Russians, is his micro, I think, was held up on the right. because he was using cavalry and everything, he starts walking men in front of his lines on the left, kind of, and starts fucking taking volleys from both sides.
Oh, let's see.
And it's his lifeguards as well. His
Oh no,
lifeguards are getting
that's
shot in the
clearly a
back after.
misclick. That's clearly like a lag misclick. I've had that happen to me plenty of times. But yeah, look at that. They're all breaking now because they're facing the wrong direction. They're getting friendly fired.
Yeah.
That's really beneficial.
Yeah, so
for you.
my right just starts falling because I think it was just this Cav micro. He was able to break some. He was able to break my only inspiring unit, which was the Saxon Life.
Yeah.
And my general took so much attrition that he was on foot. So the only thing I can really use for like moving around with morale would be the Garde du Corps. But I don't want to lose the Garde du Corps to his cavalry. But you know, I kind of have to risk it anyway because. Otherwise, I'm not going to have any morale support. The only thing I can really rely on now is the Howitzer's canister.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if they actually fire here. No, they don't. Ah, it's so bitchy. I fucking hate that.
We'll get fixed one day.
One day.
That's
Yeah, because I
unfortunate.
remember seeing this. They're about to get like such a beautiful shot off.
Yeah, that would be
It's just-
great.
yeah.
I think what I've noticed is the Russia facing you did the right thing. He kind of put the pressure on the flank, trying to envelop you. But what happened in turn is they're so far stretched from his ally that his ally had to feed so much into the center fight in the city that their connection point doesn't have enough pressure to kind of disconnect you two from each other. So it is happening. The disconnect is happening, but you just have enough kick left in you to kind of, I think, what, you're going to fall back to Laurel now relatively soon?
Well,
Seemed like the right thing to do.
we killed one of their generals. Lura killed Skunt's general with light calf.
Ow.
He snuck
Oh,
behind
my.
them. So yeah,
Jesus Christ.
what something I actually think is really, really cool there is you've not seen this replay before, but you were able to predict exactly what I was doing. Because what I start doing is I fall back, and you can see Luro starts extending his front a little bit and trying to reach out, fighting some of those Russians that were moving in.
Yep.
And I essentially just do a fight and retreat using my only howitzer left.
Oh, look at Russia in the
And I
center,
fall back.
fully retreating. Look at that. He's fully reforming. He's going to team up again with your flank, and this is giving you time to reform as well. So, fair
Yeah.
trade. I think everyone's calling it off now. It's a lull in the battle now. It's good. It's good.
They end up entirely moving my army to become Liral's. It's essentially I've become an extension of Liral's right.
Yeah, you're just a flank now, essentially. Yeah.
Right now, I'm just falling back to get away from his infantry, but you see I start rotating around, and you see there's kind of like there's a clump of trees behind Liral's Hungarians on the right. That's kind of where I start aiming my army to.
I do feel that if Roland was in charge of those Russians, you'd have so many problems.
Well, the thing is,
He must
Bizarre
be
starts
doing
doing
Maybe
Roland's
steamrolling.
tactic.
Yeah, he is. He doesn't doing it Roland-like, because he's losing cavalry. Roland
Well,
somehow
the thing
keeps
is,
all his cavalry alive.
Bizarre starts doing the thing where he charges a square, he forces you into the square, and then starts shooting you. And that's really good for him because that Saxon Life Grenadier is my only inspiring unit.
Yeah, I was wondering if
That's a very
Roland
nice
tactic could
strategy
be
from
employed.
him. Wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
And now he sees the opportunity to take out the artillery and goes for it. But again, it's a very obvious charge. He's charged way too early. It's very noisy, losing a lot of stamina. And what's he doing? He's
He
turning
needs to
around.
just run there and then charge.
No, I think he was trying to go for like my general or something. Or...
No.
No, I think he was baiting the canister. He was baiting the canister.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, he wanted the canister when it was still at range.
Yeah.
I think if you have one man outside that red thing, it won't actually fire.
Oh, here we
But he
go.
does make one mistake, and he starts while he's doing this charge.
Oh,
He's
got
like
shot
my.
by artillery.
Oh come on, my artillery didn't even fire. Oh, so cringe.
Ah,
Um,
Merrill
the
was the one
mistake
shooting.
was-
yeah.
The mistake he does is he leaves his infantry onto the front line, and I'm able to form a front line against his infantry and just start shooting his men. And he starts actually losing a lot of men in his musketeer battalions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And look
that's
at
one of these
Laryl.
things. You always have to pay attention.
Laryl now in the centre's pushing past from those two buildings that he was stuck against. This is really good.
Oh my god, look at the charge on the
Oh,
left.
now you know what you're talking about. You kind of do want to push towards that pond, that little lake, to disconnect them, don't you? That makes
Yeah.
sense, yeah. But I don't know.
Because
if
we can
it's gonna
flip them
happen.
round. And we can use Liral's six pounder. If you look at the far left, you see what the French are doing, but he does it in a way that really isn't working for him.
Mm-mm.
He's got 2 units of infantry, 2 units of grenadiers fighting an Opolchenia unit, and he's got his men in a massive chunk, and he's allowing the Russians to form up with a 12-pounder, one round shot will kill so many of them.
Where is this?
Far left,
yeah,
far
I
left.
see the 12-pounder, but it's at the bottom of the hill. It shouldn't be. I don't know. Oh, but yeah, it's gonna go for the columns. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I think
And
what
he's
Willie
also
Clasher
losing
could
the middle of
do.
his left.
Yeah, he should be stretching out thinner lines, having more reserves. But he has the artillery appeared in a good spot, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you start seeing the advance on the right, or like the retreat on the right. Lirel's advancing in certain spots, but he's allowing me to be able to attach myself into his right with those Hungarians,
Yeah.
just by farming them at that angle.
You
What
can
you're
see whoever's
doing-
playing Russia is trying to split you, but
Yeah.
he's just
Yeah.
not quite fast enough.
I do see they've snuck some cav behind, so they're going to basically be picking off artillery after, like, artillery. But
Yeah.
since
That
since-
cavalry is dying.
I was going to say, they're not going to have enough push left in them for the center, right? Because you just keep moving
Yeah, they
away,
don't.
you keep distracting, and you keep wasting time and resources on the very far
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Because I end up farming that little three infantry unit front line. And because I'm able to form that, I'm able to swing the rest of my infantry round that while still firing.
Yeah, Willie Clasher
So,
has to move back at this point. He has
Yeah,
too
there
many.
we go.
He's kind of sat his army in the same formation for way too long. The enemy knows exactly what they have to do to move around it, and they're slowly picking off one by one from the left flank.
And they also have killed his artillery P8s from gunfire.
Yeah, I see that. Oh no, they retreated
gone.
and gone back. I don't know. But no,
Yeah,
he has
he's
to
lost
pull back
the left
those
really.
really big, fat, chunky units, pull them back right to Laryl.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And also, so the biggest mistake this Russia on the right does, and it is a mistake that ends up leading to a pretty hefty and incredible downfall, is he underestimates the strength of Grenadiers and the strength of Confederation of the Rhine's Grenadiers within Inspire. You know,
Yeah.
very, very small bits of micro end up taking out like half of his army with like 2 units. I'll let you see how it happens, but it's a mixture of Liril being able to apply like support fire, and a mixture of him messing up. The Russians end up messing up with micro, and I start seeing he's gathered a lot of very small, very weak units in one little spot, and I've got some very strong, healthy Grenadier units left.
Oh god.
So I'm able to fight. Yeah, he starts shooting my infantry on the right, which is fine. But he's losing his cuirassier at the same time. And you see the Saxon Life Grenadiers going in for their first charge, I think, of the game. Because I was able to keep them alive. And this fucks them up so hard, is them not reinforcing areas of their line. Because they didn't reinforce their little centre bit there, and they focus so hard on the right flank, he's not able to support himself in certain areas, and he can lose his army piece by piece. So my Saxon Life Grenadiers killing that 30-man unit can go onto the next unit next to that, and then the next unit, and the whole time I'm getting support fire from Lero.
Yeah.
And I'm able to actually cut him off, and he's getting cut off, and he's getting forced round me. So I am letting him encircle me essentially, but because he's encircling me, we're able to batter his front line, push through his front, and then turn around and fight him.
Yeah, 100%.
Ouch. Oh.
And yep, Laryl's helping back that up.
Yeah, and Lero's won the medal by this point.
Yeah.
Like, clearly he is winning.
There's
Oh,
nothing
yeah, yeah,
connecting the two Russians between Lero and Willie Clasher. But the
Yeah.
Russian facing Willie Clasher, I think, again, has lost a lot of time. I think what's happening now is, even though he still has a relatively healthy army, you two are going to basically be wiping out what's left of the two Russians on your side. So, yeah, it'll be easily back him up.
So I know you can see what I mean. This one Saxon Life Grenadier unit has killed 3 units of infantry, and the whole time that's been happening, his front line has gone from like 70-man units to 30-man, 36. He's still got a couple of strong units over here, but I was able to just... It was, I always forget what the phrase is called, but it was defeat in detail, that's it.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
defeat in detail in very certain parts of his army, while holding off the bigger, like, his real strength is on the right, where he has 137 man, and then he has the Izmailovskis. He's also got 2 big, massive Grenadier battalions way at the back, which he thinks would probably be best for Lural. Unfortunately for him, because he chose... So I was situated in front of a forest. If he tried to charge me into that forest, he would lose. So he goes round, and he goes for Lural's Hungarians. And you'll see why that's bad, because it allows kind of like flank maneuvers, different forms of melee. Yeah, I've been able to hold a massive Russian army, an army that was much larger than mine when I began the retreat, and I've ripped him pretty thin. He's not got a lot of big regiments left, and that's the strength you can get from just retreating and letting artillery do the work and attacking very certain points of lines.
Yeah, 100%. A thing I noticed as well is sometimes what tends to happen is people start to mimic each other, and you have to remember that, like, you know, each nation is a slight bit different from each other, and like I think what he's doing wrong is having slightly too thin lines, especially as they get depleted. You know what I mean? Like, you can still have thin lines as you're depleted just because you've got stronger morale in general and whatnot. I think, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can see, yeah. Russia really probably shouldn't be only 2 units deep.
Yeah, he's suffering from a lot of morale damage just because of how thick his lines are. And because he's suffering from that, you know, he's able to put out a lot of gunfire, but that gunfire isn't matching the amount of gunfire I'm putting out. So I'm able to outgun him and out-morale him. And you see another charge Westphalian guards going up against musketeers. Bam, punch. And I am start to break that unit immediately. And then you see the scariest part of this entire area of battle is this massive grenadier charge that he sends in. And I see him sending it in, and I realize he's going to be doing a lot of micro right now, so I'm going to countercharge him. So I start to countercharge him. And I countercharge him with Mecklenburg Strelitz, and then I get Karl Darlberg, who still has an Inspire left, and I inspire the Saxon Grenadiers. And then I start sending other Saxon Light Grenadiers, and I start peeling off. And this is really when the Russian downfall begins.
Oh yeah, you can see, yeah.
The places that I countercharged immediately start breaking. One unit routes it shatters immediately. The other musketeers losing. The other musketeer that charged me.
Yeah, that's a big.
And then all of his grenadiers break.
It's because he tried to run out of the melee, which is basically number one way to have them break. He should try to. Oh, and then he's sending in the.
And so while he's enveloping me from the right, I've just broken his entire front line. And Lural's also broken that massive grenadier charge that was essentially the reserves and the leftovers of this Russian army. So we've not really got anything to worry about too much now. Because while I have very few units, Lural's still got this big army. You can turn around. As long as Will Slasher is able to hold for long enough, we'll be able to disintegrate the Russian army over here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that may not happen.
Leryl's finishing off what's left in the center and still supporting you. You can easily fall back to Leryl's, great. I was about to say, they were very close to enveloping you there. If he pushed, I think he would have had you, but I think he realized he's too far stretched to do anything. And Willie Clasher, it seemed like standing still sort of worked out for him for the most part. He's getting shot by the 12-pounders still, though. But he stopped that massive... You can see the giant fucking pile of dead bodies near his generals. Near Michael Nade, you see that massive fucking...
Yeah, all of that is conscripts as well, so you know he took a lot of losses there.
Well, that's great. It worked out for him. So I think he's held down that flank, and Mr. General Staff from Russia, Mr. Famous General Staff, he's completely disconnected from what's the next closest one? General Staff again.
Yeah.
Is that all?
And Lil also starts getting influence shot in a 6-pounder.
What?
In the center. You can see Leryl's got a 6-pounder just slap bang in the center as the Russians start moving sideways.
Oh, this could end badly.
Yeah, it could. So that just viewers out there who may be watching, that is the benefit of falling back. A lot of people think, no, I need to nail myself right here, because technically I was in a way better position beforehand, sitting on that hill, but I would have been annihilated if I'd stayed there. So if you might have a really nice position, if you're getting overrun and you start breaking, just fall back, because you can see the benefit of falling back. My army, still intact. Oh, unicorn shot just hit Lero. My
Oh, yeah.
army is basically Diablo 3 controls right now, because I have barely any men. But if you look over at the Russians, that beforehand had a far larger army than I did when they were pushing down me. 'Cause my main army broke, the Russians start moving in. You could see, if you rewind a little bit, you'll see Russians had quite a substantial force still. And because he made a couple of small micro decisions that didn't really work out, he lost some cavalry fighting the squares, he charged where he shouldn't have charged, he didn't have morale support from his general. You know, his micro got split, so I was able to charge different areas of his line. Defeat in detail really fucking hurted him. And now he's left with a vastly smaller army than he did before. And the units he does have left have barely any men in them, so they're essentially useless in a gunfight.
Yeah, 106 men is the largest I've been able to find that he still has.
Yeah.
109 actually. That might be the ones that are facing Lero though.
Yeah. And Lero's still got an army left too, so
Yeah.
you know, it certainly looks at this moment that we're winning, but viewers still need to realize, and we still need to realize, there is still a whole other Russian army, and there's not been a lot of fighting on that side. So there's a good chance there's a solid, like, 75% still there Russian army in that flank. And it doesn't look like the French are doing too well against them.
Because if the French were to have like a chain route over here, then you basically have an entire fresh Russian army with hundreds and some men units just able to pile into you and Lero.
Yeah.
Which
So
would be
it's quite a strange one. Unfortunately, you're not really able to see from the replay who is controlling who on the side of me and Lero. I get like the Russians, because it's obviously just Russia, so you don't know. But I would say solid 50% of the guys we're seeing right now is Bizarch's men who are fighting me, and the other half, which is more important to realize, doesn't have a general, because those were the guys fighting Lero. So they have ended up joining together, with essentially the only morale support being Bizarch's men.
Cav going for cannon.
Where?
Where's that? Oh yeah, Lero goes for the unicorn, way in the back.
Ah, I see.
Oh, yikes.
Canister does damage.
Yeah.
Though.
Canister cleans him up.
Ow.
But
The unicorn
it's
might
a
break.
great, it's a great
Probably
unicorn. I
didn't
can't
break.
remember. I can't remember if it breaks or not.
Unicorn
It's
Chad.
looking... Yeah.
Oh, it breaks.
Oh,
Breaks,
whoa.
come back and will break again. Oh no.
Yeah, I remember because it actually fires a shot while broken, and Lero got really fucking confused.
Yes.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's that sometimes.
I think if you run men, if they break, you put them back in the cannon and they break instantly again, then what happens is they stay stuck on the cannon while broken.
But they don't. They only fire one shot though, so they don't
I know.
actually continue as a functioning cannon.
They literally just fired a second shot.
No, that was with the other cannon. They hadn't reloaded yet.
If they fire again, it'll be fun.
Yeah. So what we're seeing now is me and Lero had like a little bit of an expedition force over there just to see where the Bizarch's men were going, and also to do a little bit of damage on the musketeers he'd left out. Try and defeat in detail again. Seems to be the bane of his existence in this battle. But we were able to pit much better, much larger units against his smaller ones. With essentially the hopes of, oh god, looking at France, it kind of break. Yeah, France have fallen back. Essentially with the idea of do as much damage as possible, let Lero rotate around them, and give the French some space to fall back into, and actually set up a defensive line.
What the heck? Okay, there.
Yeah, there's nothing really left of Russia on the right side.
It's like the entire
Modern move.
armies are just... What?
Sorry, me. I've just been massive burp. Okay, Willie Clasher, finally pushing back to the LOC.
I think it was with the breaking of his entire right flank.
Yes.
He realized that he was no longer in a good position.
True conscript's beautiful.
Definitely not.
And there's a reason, Chris, that this game, this replay, was nicknamed Kahlberg Never Dies. Because the first 5 minutes into the game,
Oh, he gets shot with
I had to dismount. No, I had to dismount Karlberg
Oh.
because he didn't have enough men. So this entire game, from the beginning to the end, Karlberg has been on foot, marching with his men, and he starts doing some very funny things.
Why wasn't he mounted? Is it because there weren't enough horses?
No, it was because he started getting shot out like really badly at the start of the game.
Yeah.
Like he lost 20 men just from like overshooting.
You can see which one's Karlberg as well. He doesn't look
Yeah.
clean.
Sorry, I'm just getting screenshots real quick. I just got an epic cannon facing a cannon right now.
Really?
Yeah, well, there's the Austrian 6-pounder facing the remains of another Russian 6-pounder, and the dead cannons are facing exactly each other. Yeah, Darlberg is a Chad.
Trust me, he starts doing even fucking chaddier things, if that's a word.
It's not, but okay.
He starts doing some very brave shit. That is incredible.
What I do like though is he's like walked up at the battle, been shot to pieces, dismounted, and gone, right, after all that battle, you know where I'm gonna stand? I'm gonna stand on some dead bodies.
The dead bodies of my Baden Grenadiers.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Also,
stand here.
just a reminder for you guys, Saxon Life Grenadiers with 2 chefs can be quite scary, especially with general support. Oh, now they've got 3 chefs. They have a history of being told to charge into death. Yeah, you're about to see what that training and that history really provides, because turns out a little bit of bravery can do quite a lot of damage. Even if you have
dead.
Even if you have 31 men, you can still do a fuck ton of damage. They have 5 chefs. They've gained 2 chefs in the last like minute. Yeah, I think this is about when it happens, because he starts moving up some really weak musketeers.
I see that. He's going in for the close. Yep.
And I press Mr. Saxon Life Grenadier and I go, yeah, I think it's them right there that you should probably be killing. And yeah, there we go.
I see it.
Oh, you
by order of Karl Dalberg, they are ordered to charge. And they immediately go back to straight green morale, and this is going to be very funny. But under morale by support, they start ripping through the Russians.
Oh my god, what is happening? There's 22 of them, and they're going for another. The Izmailovsky, they're going for the elites. The elites drop. They had 3 chevrons, the elites, and they're still dropping from them. They break instantly, going in for another. Going for another Izmailovsky. What is happening?
There's 20 of them, and they fight to the death.
This is seriously
And
no the desperate grenadier charge.
Oh my god. And Karl Dalberg sees what his men are doing, and they think, well, I think I want a little bit of that. They start advancing. And he starts running forwards, because he sees his men are starting to break, so he thinks, I need to charge. So he charges.
What's Dalberg doing?
And he charges the Izmailovsky, and he breaks the unit next to Izmailovsky. And then he breaks the Izmailovsky.
No way.
And then he runs away. Yeah,
and then he goes back. And then he goes back to protection.
Look, I'd be shitting myself if I saw the general of the enemy army fucking charging at you on foot. Fuck that, honestly.
So like a little bit of a recap there was 1 unit of 35 men went through 5 Russian divisions, and then when they finally couldn't break the last 2 and ran away, Karl Dalberg on foot sprinted forwards and charged with 7 men and broke them.
That is quite funny.
He broke the entire flank of the Russians with one unit and a general stat. Ah, I love Karl Darlberg. Such a fucking legend. Or at least
Wow.
definitely in this battle he was a legend. That is just, it's such a stupid moment. It's like, it's directly ripped from like a film or something like that.
And the general charges in foot and breaks the entire enemy army.
It's like, it's basically some kind of stupid rip-off from a Hollywood film. So yeah, you see, the even
Michael
funnier
Ney.
part
Michael
is,
Ney's getting the fuck out of there. Holy shit, too hot for
yeah,
him.
the even funnier part is that Darlberg actually becomes the morale for the left flank. He was the only thing holding the left flank of the Austrians.
I'm proud of the
Lewis
Austrians for
general.
having, again, 22 men, 26
Willie
men.
Thatcher's dead.
Well,
Less than-
Thatcher's general just broke. He's dead.
Oh, he died. He just got shot.
Yeah. So
Ow.
Lurel's general's holding the right side of the army, and on foot Karl Darlberg is holding the left. So he actually does become quite important, just morale-wise, because he's the only thing holding the morale of half the army.
Oh, God.
It's a very strange
There's a
thing.
Russian 3-pounder. If you have a look at where the Russian 3-pounder is, you can see just skid marks on the hill. It has not shot anything the entire game.
Yeah, it's
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Actually, one shot just went over, and house did nothing.
Oh, I just saw that. Yeah, well, it did 1% to the house. Congrats.
So yeah, the scariest part of this is we didn't actually know how big the Russian army was, because we just fought off 2 Russian armies and killed them. Bizark's 4 divisions or whatever it was he had left have just attached onto the flank of whatever Russians are here. We have no idea. So both Lyril and me, we have no clue how big this army is, because Willie never really said. He didn't really know actually.
Yeah.
So for all we know, we could be facing upwards of 4,000 men here. So
Well, I'm looking
we
at the-
might still be outnumbered.
Yeah, I'm looking at the numbers now, and the Russians were 5,250 men, 5,480 men, and then 5,360 men. So really even numbers across the Russians, but still, the fact that this was the least committed Russian player, you are right in kind of guessing a huge number of Russians, perhaps.
Yeah, especially with the amount of damage he was able to do to the French, because the French wasted like around 6 units just in pointless melee charges that never worked for him.
And he sees an opening against Russians. I mean, against the French. Really thin Fusiliers.
The French have lost their general as well recently, so it's not going to
Yeah.
be well.
Yeah.
So
the
it means
French are
Lyril's got to
cracking
use
there.
his general.
Yeah.
Lyril's got to use his general to hold the entire right, and Darlberg's
Ow.
holding the
It's
left.
literally down to Lero at this point, isn't it? Yeah,
Mhm.
Lero realizes, well, LOC's still the most important part. Oopsies. Big map. And, yeah, shit.
Yeah, Lyril,
I think,
Lyril got...
nah, Lero knows what to do. He knows to just stand and let them charge into him, because the bracing bonus is more than enough, and it's gonna cost them too much to attack them aggressively, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
At this moment in the
So-
battle, this far depleted, Russians really don't have any room anymore.
Lyril ended up getting, what was it, 5,000 kills?
100%.
Which is quite a lot for even FCN games. I think a very solid reason for that is the fact that he's still got like a relatively big army still, to be able to hold the last minutes of the game. He has literally fought all 3 enemies on the other side and came out victorious.
Yeah, and pretty much finished each of them off as well. It's incredible.
Yeah,
He's done the
he's done a
best.
very good job.
It's really good, just defensive strategy. It's let the enemies make mistakes as they try to attack you, and kind of bait them with good ground and stuff like that. But I think you mainly did that on the right flank a whole lot. You definitely baited them, made them cost for each fucking bit of ground they wanted to take.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, as Napoleon once said, never interrupts your enemy when he's making a mistake.
No idea where that.
Yeah,
Artillery
Lyril put his artillery down. This was quite a funny moment in the battle. He put his artillery down in the hill to try and do canister. Unfortunately, when he told them to go onto the cannon, they marched across the map to the 6-pounder cannon on the hill where it had originally been. for some insane reason.
Oh, yeah, I see what they're doing now. They've gone to our half of the cannon.
However,
I see that.
Shot.
That's happened to me a bunch of times. Yeah.
the six-pounder actually does do something quite funny in the future. Let's see.
What does the six-pounder shoot with no one on it?
No, it still fires, but the six-pounder on the hill is still useful because it kills something.
Okay.
Does it kill the general, perchance?
You'll see.
A little bit of sus gen sniping to be done.
What does Willie Clasher have left? He has 2 Fusiliers, and is that it?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
He's garrisoned the house with it.
You are just down to your Darlberg with 6 men, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's proud. He's proud that lost so many men today.
I mean, imagine being the Austrian unit standing in front of him. Like, imagine just like turning around and seeing him, just being like, "That's the guy who charged headfirst into the enemy for some insane reason." He's clearly he's on crack.
Did that artillery just like shoot his own men? Because Phoenix just went into the.
Yeah. I think Lyril's also not really using his generals to support them right now.
Yeah.
But this was quite a scary moment in the battle because we fought so hard and we began losing it just because there was a couple of big Russians left.
Just a bit of friendly fire, yeah.
So this whole game, we'd been losing the right side. Lyril had won the center, and then we lost the left. So essentially, we'd become encircled slowly, and it's all revolved around this one town. And naturally, it has to end with this one town.
Yeah.
It was a tough battle, but it's ridiculous, the idea of being an Austrian soldier, beating the center, then being told, sorry, you need to flip to the right side to fight the Russians that had won on the right side, so they have to go and fight them. And then about half an hour later, they're being told, yeah, you know how you bet like the front and side? Yeah, you're gonna have to go and fight the other one, who's even bigger.
And then back to the left.
Yeah.
Back to the center again now. Just don't worry, you're gonna be running around in circles all day. Enjoy. Okay,
Don't worry,
this is
guys,
really good. This is really
Darlberg.
good. The Russians have completely ignored the French behind them. They have given up. They've exposed their flank. Because you have 3 buildings at the moment. You've got Fusiliers in one of them, and more Fusiliers in another one, and then 2 Fusiliers of the French in one of the buildings.
I think with every Russian division we start seeing appear from the forest, the more we start moving our mouses to the clock. Because there is 8 minutes left in this battle, and we are winning by LOC. So, are we going to beat the Russians in a gunfight? Or are we going to win by LOC? That began to be what we were thinking. Because even if we
bit of friendly
lose
fire
this
just then.
gunfight,
Did you see that friendly fire from the 3-pounder into the back?
Yeah. Oh! That just had Hungarian Fusilier. Oof.
Yeah, friendly
Oh
fire.
my god.
Oh no, that was it. Was it the enemy or the friendly fire?
That was friendly fire.
You can tell by the angle.
Let me see.
Yeah, the angle, yeah. Ooh.
Oh right, yeah, I see where it landed. Sorry, I just looked at another skid mark. I'm just looking in toilet bowls all day.
You were just looking at what?
I said toilet bowls. Skid
Oh,
marks.
okay.
Yeah, ha ha ha.
Can we
that part out.
Cal Darlberg is still. Imagine if that artillery just wipes out Cal Darlberg.
No, I think you'll find the cannonball would actually bounce off his face and then hit the ground and do nothing.
No, it bounced off his face and hit the cannon.
It's just like redirects it.
I'm watching Carl Darlberg. What's gonna happen?
Nothing.
Nothing happens.
What was that?
He's a
artillery?
legend, he never dies.
Again, more friendly fire.
And the
Oh
charge.
yeah,
Russians
the Russians go in for one final charge.
Oh, and one's gone into the red. Oh.
But there's one thing you didn't account for, Michael. Karl Darlberg's here.
Oh yeah.
And he slowly starts walking into the melee. Such a strange man, just walking forward into a melee. And Lurel starts
Walking
garrisoning
out.
the other houses as well.
Running out now.
That's because he knew the melee was won. And also, I think he saw that there was another musketeer, you know? So we actually won the melee, and this is where we realised the game's been won.
I wonder. I couldn't really tell when people were using their general abilities. Do you reckon anybody saved anything until like the last quarter of the game for the generals?
Luro rallied, and I used my final inspire. I think my final inspire was when the grenadier charge was.
Yeah.
Where they charged the 2 grenadiers in. Luro, I knew, had a rally right here that he used for the melee.
He's charging in Joseph into his musketeers, cleaning it up. Yeah, that's a 1 day, 100%. That's incredible.
And also, the French maneuvered out the house and charged into the back of the Russians.
Oh, yeah, they are, yay! We're French.
So it's quite a cinematic ending with a charge. And Darlberg in the middle of it. Unsurprisingly, he fights to the last. And Lero's general starts chasing after our general staff. Also, Lero canistered his own general by accident.
Yeah, I heard that.
So a fun fact is the only inspiring unit left in this battlefield becomes Karl Darlberg. And Lero started shouting at me over the call because when I moved Karl Darlberg away from his men in the houses to attack the 3-pounder, his men started breaking.
Nah. That happens. I'm just looking at the battlefield and I don't think there's anything to celebrate today. This is a quite...
It was a massacre from both sides.
A Pyrrhic victory?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of losses from both sides. There's a reason why this battle was labelled as down to the last men, because there is literally so little men left. There's so many dead infantry drawn in lines.
Yeah, it's hard to get a single screenshot to capture what really happened. You know what I mean? I'm just going to do a brief scan of the battlefield right now. But
and then there's just piles of bodies everywhere. It's kind of spectacular.
Yeah. Lero kills one of their generals with a cannon by accident.
Do you see? Yes. Is the Abadan Grenadiers the blue guys with a little bit of red trim?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at their bodies over there, just on the hillside.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. That's where they did that charge in the Jaegers and created the first hole.
I like the little dock area with a horse with a dude stuck from it, like clinging from the horse, a cuirassier. Do you see that?
Yeah. I pointed that to Lear like halfway through the battle. It's so stupid that he's just slammed into the fate that he'll never be able to escape, and the horse is just like dragging him like across the face constantly.
Jesus.
Poor guy.
And in the town center, getting closer to it's hard to. I'm trying to scan across the whole battlefield, but there's too much action in too many different spots, like in the forest, just off the hill when you're falling back, and then it literally laps all the way around. Like, there's battle lines kind of going every direction. This is kind of fucked up. Anyways, down to the center where all of Austria's troops are. Looking at the death lines here with a little bit of horses mixed amongst, this is so dense. Like,
yeah,
that's fucked. The melee that happened here, how long Lero had to hold on.
Yeah. Oh my god. The biggest patch of bodies though is the Russian conscripts. Not the Russians, the French conscripts.
The French conscripts. I'm now on that big pile of bodies now. This is ridiculous. I'm going to try and get a good screenshot of this real quick.
It's also quite interesting just looking at the right side, because you can see the battle lines of the slow retreat, and it's genuinely like, you see like a, I don't know how to describe it, like a half circle swinging around and then forming a sideways line. You can just see the very slow axis of retreat.
Oh, from your side?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was pointing out before, where it basically laps around each other. It's insane. But where Willy Clasher was, you can see very distinct melees. Do you see these big blobs of dead and then very thin shooting lines? It's really interesting, these type of battles on this side.
Well, it looks like both of the melees were on the flanks and nothing in the middle.
Yeah. And then just got the massive melee of the conscripts, dude. This is just... wow.
the thing that scares me about that melee, because I don't really look at that much, is it looks like 90% of the bodies are conscripts and there's barely any Russians in there. So that looked like it was a very heavy loss for the French.
I'm pretty sure they're just buried in amongst.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of bodies now. I actually got into a lot of trouble from Leo just because I moved my general away. Because you can see a shit ton of his infantry started routing from
Whoa, yeah,
houses.
he got a mass rout in the center just because probably the cannonball landed luckily somewhere and then just mass rout.
No, it's the second Darlberg started walking away because I started charging the cannons. All of his men dropped to red morale and then broke.
You guys had 14,202 men, and they had
Respect.
they had 16,120 men.
That's around a 2,000 man difference it looks.
Yeah, that is definitely a 2,000 man difference. Well, 1,900 if you want to be exact. Anyways, your team kills in total were 11,216, compared to them, who they killed 10,483. So around about like a, what do you call that? Like an 800 kill difference, 750 kill difference. Yeah.
They got a lot of respect, like respectable for Russia. They got quite a
100%.
lot of kills.
It came down
'cause you
to
can see that,
stretching
that's
across the map. It literally came down to the fact that Russia had to thin out, which in turn made them lose in the firefight. That's 100%.
Yeah.
If they committed to blobbing the center and basically pushing Leril out, and then keeping the center and then defending from within, they would have basically held LOC easily. But they basically let Leril do what they should have done, if that makes sense. Because that's how basically Willie and Dan could work the flanks and keep like Leril being the anchor, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
Really good.
It's always very interesting to see a Russia player, just because Russia always, well, it's very rare to see a Russia kill more than they lost. I mean, it's not really usual to see most factions kill more than they lost, but specifically Russia, it's very historically accurate with the idea of we will lose a fuck ton of men, but we'll still kill enough of the enemy for it to be worth it.
100%.
It's like Skunt killed 2,500 and he lost 4,000, but that 2,500, that's over half of my army. So if he was fighting me and he killed 2,500 of my men, I would have like 4 divisions left with like barely any men in them because everyone else would have routed.
Yeah. Well, that's actually
So,
really
yeah.
interesting. Look at the amount of losses for the Russians. They were very even. It looked, because they had even-sized armies. You can kind of tell the breaking points. It's around about like 4/5 is when your army's truly just going to kind of call it quits. In
Yeah.
losses. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that was a great match. Thank you very much. I was joined by 2 developers. It was Dan the Mantis, who was starting it, and Mr. Michael Mouse. Alright, say goodbye.
No. Bye, love you.
Bye. Great. Amazing. Dan, I will kill you later.
Awesome.